Hello, dear viewers of UATV English channel. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, which I'm sure bothers many of our foreign friends, but makes laugh most of Ukrainians, maybe even hysterically. So we're going to talk whether Ukraine should await for a deadly attack on Kiev, maybe entire Ukraine, with 100 missiles, maybe even 101, I don't know, you guess, so we can guess numbers, figures, when it will happen, but we probably shouldn't. So what do you think? What should we expect after the Kursk region operation?
Question. Which time 100 rockets this year?
Yay! That's a good question. And also, I'd like to ask our viewers, how many times have we already seen 100 missiles only in 2024?
No one. There are, as I remember, only once it was more than 100.
More than 100. So
yes,
once.
It was once in 2022.
Okay.
But,
No. In 2022 it was several times.
Yeah,
about
several
100.
times, not once, I guess.
But
We'll have to fact check. We are
I remember the fact
professionals.
check.
We should do this, right?
before the
Yeah, maybe before we actually record the podcast, but okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a couple of times because each time there was 90 plus missiles. I was staying up late on the channel because there was no light in the whole of Kyiv. There was no mobile connection, and I had to stay for the night on the work.
You see a problem when you now Google 100 and missiles or drones, just like, a quick check, you will see that actually Ukraine attacked Russia with 100 drones.
and 17.
Yes, it was like the biggest attack on Russian air bases,
According
right?
to Russian military.
Yeah, according
Ministry
to,
of
of course,
Defense.
Russian Ministry of Defense. Yeah, if we believe the Russian Ministry of Defense, they also destroyed all of them, and like 100 drones and 4 missiles. So yeah, that's the numbers. But still, what we are trying to say is that it's not the first time Ukraine is under the threat of a big Russian attack with missiles, ballistic, particularly.
North Korean ballistic missiles.
Yes, which is the problem because they're very chaotic. Like the problem, because it doesn't even matter because Russians do not target strictly, like military targets. So it's not very important. But still, the problem is that Korean missiles just fall apart in the air. Good news sometimes maybe for our air forces, but I'm not sure good news for civilians. So what do you think about this, big talks about the fact we're gonna face an attack soon?
My first point is that if maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, Russia will strike Ukraine with 100 missiles, it is a question why they do right now. Because we had Ukrainian offensive operation is lasting 9 days. And 9 days they are waiting, they are preparing. So why? Because you don't have such a
Because
number.
of 117 Ukrainian drones which hit the airfields where they were assembling the missiles.
The main topic of this revenge of 100 missiles on Kyiv is a revenge on the offensive
Kursk.
on Kursk. And offensive on Kursk
They are
lasted
plotting
9
the
days.
revenge.
But actually,
It will be called as revenge.
I'm even disappointed. Everyone was waiting for nuclear weapons. What do you mean only 100 ballistic missiles?
Maybe
Wasn't it supposed to be like a red line that would lead to a very big escalation?
Actually, Dmitry Medvedev stopped nuclear threats after the Kursk operation started.
By the way,
everyone in Russia stopped.
See?
They stopped nuclear
I haven't heard
threats.
anything about nuclear weapons when Kursk happened. Like, why is that? Wasn't it supposed to be like even more in the media space?
I think that the Kremlin authorities they have the idea that they could operate in Kursk region without using of nuclear weapon. because they understand that if they will use a nuclear weapon, it will be a response from the NATO countries, not from Ukraine. Because using of nuclear weapon is it's a red, brown, red line.
But if they use it on the territory of Russia?
It don't, you know, knowing about the quality of Russian missiles, it could be in the mine of nuclear weapon, where
the launch site.
In the launch. So it could be even Simonyan, as I remember, supposed to use nuclear weapon over the Siberia it was like
to intimidate,
like half a year ago, to use a nuclear weapon over the Siberia, because this will lead to the magnetic disaster, and all electronics in the world will stop working, and only Russians know how to live without electronics.
You know, we don't have to convince ourselves. Yeah, like, so it's like for most foreigners who thought that it would lead to nuclear escalation. And I would just like to read, this is from the article by Peter Dickinson on Atlantic Council. So he wrote this. It is already clear that Ukraine's decision to invade Russia has succeeded in making a complete mockery of Vladimir Putin's red lines and the West's fears of escalation.
Yes.
So, like you see, not only it's been 9 days, basically nothing happened, and Putin is actually now tries to make conscripts who are like 18, 20 years old to fight in the Kursk region.
And they actually 100 more surrendered, according to General Staff, this morning.
This morning already posted on UATV English, you know, like our Telegram, our Twitter, our Facebook. You can already see that news there. And by the way, I'd like to emphasize there are some of them are from Akhmat, which is like a very well known in Russia. And it's funny that we saw a lot of...
Not, but...
No, you had to show some moves from TikTok, because as we know, Ahmad soldiers are very good at TikToks, but not very good at fighting. So yeah, we saw a lot of videos where Russians were like, oh, where is Ahmad? Please come save us. And like, we only see them among captured soldiers.
There's also a lot of mockery that they retreat behind the backs of conscripts, of Russian conscripts, which are from 18 to 20 years old.
Yeah, so like Ahmad is great at TikToks, but they like to, like hide behind young guys from Murmansk who were just like, you know, thrown to Kursk region.
Yeah, and returning to this Kursk after the threats of 100 missiles, we see that basically the entire professional and military capable army of Russia is engaged in Ukraine in this moment, and they are basically defenseless all over the border. All borders of Russia except for the Ukrainian front, because like Kursk is 200-300 kilometers from Pokrovsk, from the main direction of fight.
No, Kursk is very...
it's very close, huh?
No, it's far. It's
Kursk exactly like the city is not that close.
But the border, it's like near the Sumy. Sumy and Pokrovsk.
Sudzha is close, but Kursk
I mean, it's a direct border with Ukraine, and there's major fighting nearby, and that border was defenseless. Imagine the entire border with China, Mongolia, like
if I was a Russian,
Finland.
Thank God I'm not. If I was a Russian, I would think, oh wow, so Putin cares more about some cities in Ukraine like Pokrovsk, and like we all know this meme about Donbass, dead boss. I don't know. There are a lot of names when Russians don't even know where Donbass is, what cities are located there. But still, their authorities are more interested in these cities than their own Sudzha, their own Kursk region. I would not like that. I would be outraged by the fact that all the forces are in Ukraine and there is no one to defend the Kursk region.
And if the NATO attacks them tomorrow?
Oh, no, it's not correct from the very beginning, because they are already fighting NATO, according to Russians.
So why don't they invade Russia from Finland, from Baltic states?
I don't know why that's not happened yet, but-
Because NATO, you don't know, because NATO saving the lives of their citizens, but want to kill all the Ukrainians.
Yes,
sure,
of
sure.
course.
And the
Because-
mercenaries are also there. It's mercenaries in the Kursk region. It's NATO mercenaries.
Yes, yes, and that's why, as you know, all the Ukrainian soldiers were killed without any aim in the Kursk, and it will end in 1 day, 2 day, 3 day.
So they
9
for,
days.
for the 9th day,
40 days.
they've been destroying southern Ukrainian soldiers in Kursk region and stabilizing the front far away from the border. Each day more
Maybe,
more
but,
distant.
But you know this information about I want to come back to the 100 missiles. Everyone in West afraid of these 100 missiles. So maybe it's not afraid; it's worrying about us. But
Yeah.
No, they are afraid
right.
they are
Worrying.
afraid because Putin threatened to target with missiles European capitals.
So Ukraine is attacking Kursk, and Putin revenge on the Western capitals.
Yeah, he's had that
It's logical,
ultimatum, stop supporting Ukraine or we will nuke your capitals.
That's not never happening, ever, never, as long as we are alive. At least you.
Nothing is
The
impossible.
Years gap. But you know what? We also should mention the fact, what Russian propaganda says. Also, from what I've seen on Twitter and Facebook, what do you think about this theory that Ukrainians will be defeated the same way Nazi Germany was defeated under Kursk? They like this theory so much. Kursk is definitely becoming a symbol, at this point, the boat, the Battle of Kursk. So they say oh no, this is a suicide. This is a suicide mission for Ukrainians. They will be just destroyed. If Nazis could not make it, then Ukraine shouldn't even hope for anything.
You see, I like this information, this memes in different social media about Nazis, not Nazis, sorry, German tanks. German tanks is attacking.
Yeah, so now
the group of army center.
Mikola,
Yeah.
there is no leopards, fall back.
Yeah, all the terms from the World War II, they're coming back, all
Yes,
these flashbacks.
and everyone supposed to Putin, not supposed, but give advance to Putin to ask some weapons from US because
It's time for Lend-Lease,
it will help. Maybe not this time, but previous time it helps. Ukraine will lose in Kursk. You see, I don't think that Kursk will be the decisive point in the terms of war, of military war. It's a decisive point in the terms of geopolitics because
It is ideological victory.
It's more information victory, informationally.
It's not just information. It's also it's a humanitarian win of Ukraine because you see 9 days since the beginning of Ukrainian advance in Kursk, there are no evidence from Russian about some mercenaries, about some Nazis, about some
about atrocities.
They're trying
no
very hard,
atrocities.
but
yes, there are some words about boys in underwear.
of course, and our favorite video about Mykola, no leopards.
Yeah.
Please, if you haven't seen this, look it up on the internet.
Also, I've just watched through a video where a Russian old lady thanks Ukrainian soldiers for not destroying her house while entering the...
What about ladies that ask for a lift? They're hey, God, you can say it's propaganda, blah, 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 but literally, it's obvious that the babushkas in the Kursk region...
In broken Ukrainian surgic.
Yeah, so the one lady, so she even said, I'm not a Ukrainian, but I speak Ukrainian. And she basically asked the Ukrainian soldier for a lift. She was my legs hurt, so it wouldn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, and also the answer was very polite from our guys. It's always funny, watching them laughing and being in a good mood in Sudzha while patrolling the city.
Yes, and that's why it's an ideological point, because of course I think Russian will use this advance if they will liberate some territory that they will make some footages like in Bucha or Irpin, and will say that you see Ukrainian do this, and they make some.
But by the way, already some people from Sudzha, so it's like a bit too late for that, because there are already, I've seen from like Novaya Gazeta, I think, so like a few like Russian media outlets that call themselves independent. So they already reported, they made interviews with some of the people that were like in Sudzha, and already there are no stories about Ukrainians killing anyone, because they do not. And they are not destroying, like, out of spite, anything like civilian buildings and stuff. So Russians, the local residents, I do not say, like, yes, they want to be a part of Ukraine. Also, honestly, nobody wants this. Just so it's clear, Ukraine doesn't want these people to be a part of Ukraine.
And this land.
Yeah, and this land. So, and I think that's where we should come back. That, like, when we talk about Nazis and Kursk and Ukraine and Kursk, it's very different. So Nazis, it was like an offensive to have this land, to occupy them.
Yeah, destroy the nationals there.
Also, USSR. I don't like. We had this like statement. Remember, like this is the first incursion into Russia's land since World War II. I don't like it a bit. So, like, it sounds massive and great for Ukraine, but I don't like it because that means like USSR equals Russia. It was not just Russia, so it was also like other nations,
including Ukraine, Belarus, Baltic states occupied, all countries occupied by Soviet Russia.
Yeah, so it's a bit different in numbers, first of all, and second of all, Ukraine has captured like the territories not just to capture them. That's not the final goal, because that's just to make sure like it's a buffer zone from where the attacks on Sumy region and Kharkiv region cannot be conducted. That's the point.
Yeah, I remember when President Zelensky spoke at the end of 2023 that our main goal for 2024 will be securing Kharkiv and Sumy from border artillery strikes. And by creating that safety zone on a border area, it is extremely easy to drive away Russian artillery, which was destroyed there. And the only danger will remain Russian planes, Su-34, with glide bombs, and which they can be downed again from Kursk region with some air defenses.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, it has already been reported yesterday about downing of one Su-34. But yet, we need 100 missiles on Russian air bases with Su-34s, and not talking about 100 missiles on Kyiv, which already has been.
Because let's talk about this bombs of that is used by Su-34. It's a bomb.
Yeah.
It's a glide bombs that is very short range. And
well, no, it's not short range. It's 70 kilometers.
In terms of Ukraine, it couldn't reach the Kyiv. It's only Kharkiv.
Yeah. So it's a danger for Kharkiv still.
But to hit with these bombs, you must came close to the front line, and it's a danger for the.
But still, we don't have that many air defenses, Western air defenses, which can down those Su-34s. We have a couple of F-16s, yes, but as soon as I know, they were not reported in combat right now, and they are the rivals. They will down.
There was even a statement that they were not going to be in combat soon.
Yeah,
like
because there's no missiles for them.
Yeah, it's still too risky to engage with them in this like combat missions.
Yeah, so 100 missiles should be directed at the airfields and not on Kyiv.
It will be. I want to point on another to talk about another point that you said that Volodymyr Zelensky talked about the security, and Putin talked about the buffer zone for Russia.
I remember that.
And he get the buffer zone.
He got the buffer zone.
Yes.
I do not see any problem.
What is the problem? And maybe it is an answer why Kremlin is not reacting on these events.
So you think it's part of the negotiation process? So we are negotiating, like creating buffer zones?
No. You see, Putin made some goal for Russian army, made a buffer zone. there are buffer zone. Why he
Yeah, so
he
it's a
should
success.
react?
It's a great Russian success.
Success, yes,
of course.
because it's gray zone on the border with Ukraine. What is
Yeah, like they got an order, they did it.
yes, and that's why Kremlin doesn't do anything, because the goal is achieving.
Also, like, jokes aside, still, I think some people miss a point that it's not like they say, like, so people who support Russia, like, you'll get destroyed. Ukrainians are not there for a long time. Who said we had to be there for a long time? The fact that, first of all, did you see Putin's face during the meeting he convened? Like, it's worth it. The guy,
all the Botox was the Kremlin.
guy, yes, even Botox did not help. Like, the guy was shitting his pants. At least he was furious. Like, he tried to hide it. And we are not these big experts who try, like, to look at the face and see, like, oh, he thought that and that. But you can, it's pretty obvious what he felt at that moment. So yeah, still, like, even if it's for a few weeks, a few months, it helps to prevent attacks on Sumy and Kharkiv. It helps to get closer to destroy some of the military sites in Russia, air bases as well. I think it's still, like, it's a success, like, of these
And also the
specific
gas
operation.
transit through Ukraine goes through the Sudzha
Yeah.
gas transit station.
And from the military point, it's another another thing that if probably Ukraine will come back to the Sumy region in a day or in a week, so Putin will, the Russian Russian generals will be. They will defend all the border from Ukraine, because they thought that Ukraine will not invade in Russian territory. Will not. It will be only some small groups, not big. And if the second time Ukraine will go through the border, it will be a decisive. It will be a critical point for Russia, because now many experts said that it is it was an unreadiness of Russia. It was because they don't evade.
readiness. You are in a war. Hello.
They thought that Russian borders is unbroken.
And that's the point. It's great that this showed the actual state.
And imagine it will happen the second time. It will be the shock for all there, because now some people.
I think they're shocked enough already.
No,
but
many generals said, Russian generals said, it's some excess. It's something. Luck.
It's a tragic mistake, as they say.
Yes,
yeah.
tragic mistake, Ukrainian luck, Ukrainian something else. And as old rule, one time it's an accident, two times it's a coincidence, and the three times it's a rule. I think the coincidence, if it will be a coincidence, and the second time Ukraine will pass through the Russian border, it will be. It will change all the Russian society.
I don't think so.
It's changed right now, because
it's changing now, but like we also have these memes like, oh look, Russian citizens went to protest against things that happened in the Kursk region, and there is like an empty square. They will.
You didn't see the the Rostov stadium with a screen. Kursk, we are with you.
Oh wow!
And
humanitarian help from. By the way, I'd like to mention it's important that Russia is pulling out the humanitarian aid from the temporarily occupied territories to the Kursk region. Isn't that like disgusting? Isn't that like dumb and awful? Like everything that is touched by Russia, actually, like every piece of news and like.
For me, the funniest thing was when the Russian soldiers from the Zaporizhia front make a video. We are supporting Kursk. Why you are supporting? Go and fight.
Yeah, while you are,
Soldiers.
for example, near Pokrovsk, why are you there? Go support the Kursk region.
And defend your land.
Because even if you capture another Ukrainian village, town, okay,
destroy
still.
it to the ground.
Yeah,
and
you
then
destroy it
capture.
to the ground, you don't get anything, you only have a very problematic piece of land, everything destroyed, just not destroyed, wiped out, nothing. Dead bodies all over the ground. And that's the point to be proud. That's something you're proud of, while your own land is not your own land at this point. That's the, as Biden said, a great dilemma for Putin. The guy was very brief. He was like, it's a great dilemma, thank you.
Yes.
He's relaxed at this point. He's soon to be retired. He's like, that's a great dilemma, thank you. So yeah.
Could you return to this point after half of a year when
as we all know, all the retired generals, NATO generals, they become very bold when they are retired, and they can finally offer these amazing plans how Ukraine could, defeat Russia.
Yeah, so they are very worried when they are in post, and then when they are retired, they will lead the offensive.
Yeah, somewhere from Berlin, I don't know. The
comfortable chair.
Berlin part was
I want remind one point that if I would, I suppose I will not be a Russian, but if I will be a Russian in Suja, I will be very afraid because I know how Russian is fighting on the land.
Yes, we all know the fact that Russians should be afraid not of Ukrainians destroying their cities and towns, but Russians, because they are currently suffering from Russian air bombs.
And one more point. As you know, the acting governor of Kursk region, Smirnov, said that refugees from Kursk regions will be sent to the Zaporizhia region.
Yeah.
On the occupied territory. And do you know why they do this?
I don't know, but I know that Ukrainian authorities suggest that we also have a humanitarian corridor for Russians, not only to Russia, but to Ukraine.
Yes,
not like temporary occupied territories, but just Ukrainian territories.
But as we Pasha told yesterday in Daily Wrap-Up, there are several points why they move refugees to the Zaporizhia region. Because, first of all, because if some citizen of Kursk region will come to Nizhny Novgorod or St. Petersburg and
from Suja, yeah.
Yes, and told everyone what is happening there, all the people will begin to thought. I don't think that Russian will begin to thought, but
yeah.
And that's why they must be sent to the point where they couldn't speak with ordinary Russian.
That's another example of when Russians have to preserve their face, their imperial face of a big, great country. They will do any harm to their own people if it helps them to pursue this goal.
And to pursue
they will
this goal,
we all know that they kill their own people to make provocations.
To pursue this goal, they made an anti-terrorist operation in this three regions, Kursk, Voronezh and Belgrade. So the citizens of this region couldn't cross the internal border of Russia. So if you want to go to your relatives in the Far East or Buryatia, for example, you couldn't do this because on the border you will be stopped because you know something and you will be killed, you will be maybe returned to some refugees, maybe sent to occupied territory of Ukraine. And this is also one of the points to hide the truth as a blocking of YouTube.
Yeah, just you see, when Russians think that, oh, that's great, Ukrainians being killed and terrorized and captured as prisoners, and it will never happen to us because we will be protected by Russia. They forget that they are not, in fact, protected by Russia, because this empire state only protects itself, not its people.
The point is that Russia can only fight on the offensive.
Also, yeah, partially maybe you have a point, but I don't know. We will not know about the like this fact, like on the example of Kursk, because there was no defense. Like it did not just exist.
No, they had defense built for 30 billion rubles last year, like Dragon Teeth.
Oh, great moment to also remind about the corruption in Russia.
Yes,
so yeah, 30 billion rubles is nothing.
Some Western newspaper wrote that Ukrainians needed 3 tank shells to break through the defenses.
Oh.
Maybe it's you see Russian corruption. We see it in Russian army because when it was told about the thousands of tanks, and most of them are broken right now, and they use 5 tanks to make one of them, and it also very difficult. We see that all the stocks of tanks is empty now because there are in numbers too many tanks in Russia, but in fact all of them it's like a piece of steel.
Yeah, so returning to the basic question.
I think that we can actually sum it up and finish. First of all, you have an intrigue whether we'll still be talking about Kursk region in our next episodes, because we don't know how long it will be, like how long the operation will be. Also, I'd like to mention, like, you know, just so you can read about it after the episode, Financial Times has reported that Ukraine and Russia begin talks on exchange of prisoners captured in Kursk. So
Yesterday, Ukrainian ombudsman said that it was the first time when Russia initiated
appealed to Ukraine and not Ukraine appealed to Russia, which also is a great sign. Are you haters gonna hate and say anything about like, oh, Ukraine will be eliminated in Kursk, blah, blah, blah? See what is happening. They feel weakness. They are very vulnerable at this point. And also, do not forget that we talked about a lot of missiles destroying Ukrainian cities before Kursk as well. So when we were talking about negotiations and peace, Putin still fired missiles at Ukraine. So nothing has happened, nothing has changed for us, you know, significantly. And even it got better. So because as of now, they have a problem of Kursk and they're a bit distracted, and, you know, what's helping us is great for us. So that's it for today, I guess. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. And of course, we hope that you will subscribe on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow news on our Telegram, our Twitter and our Facebook, because we try to post everything efficiently so you can see the news about Ukraine first. Thank you. Enjoy.
And be aware of the rockets.
Of course.
Okay.